Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 red flags that you need to know about when you are hiring someone for your company. Because there's a ton of data out there. I'm going to tell you some of the research, but long story short, you may or may not be aware of this, but a bad hire can have a big impact on your company. So for example, one piece of research that we found said that it can have up to a $15,000 impact, just one person, just $15,000 gone. Because you have to factor in the time and the costs, posting jobs. You have someone from your team doing it. Maybe you're doing, what's the value of your time? It's a lot. It's a big cost any way that you slice it. And you really are, it takes time too, because you're only looking for one person most of the time. You want to do one person at a time, hire one person at a time. But 80, 90 or more percent of people who are just applying, just throwing their resume around, filling out forms, a lot of them just aren't a fit in the first place. So you can just chop off like 90% and then you're left with 10%. And then of the 10%, how many people actually followed instructions and, did what you asked them to do? But then let's say that, a bad one gets through the door. And according to research, 75% of businesses have experience with this, unfortunately. We've been pretty lucky. We've had some not great hires and some not good hires, let's say, but I feel like we've been lucky that we haven't ever had like a really bad hire. But I've certainly interviewed a few people who definitely is the reason why we never hired them. But the impact is that it can affect morale. It can affect your brand and your reputation if a bad apple gets through the door. And it affects everything. It can affect your relationships with existing clients or customers. So let's dive into what the top 3 red flags actually are that you need to be aware of. So if you're aware of them, you can spot them during the hiring process, or, maybe unfortunately, maybe someone got onto the team now. You could spot it now and say, listen, okay, I recognize this as a problem and it's for this reason. And then that will help you, just give you the nudge that you need to take action to find someone better, who's going to make your team better and your company better overall. So first red flag to be aware of in order to avoid potentially bad hires is red flag number 1 is lame excuses for not submitting their work sample or skill test on time. So for example, we were recently hiring for the digital marketing strategist position that we had at AutoGrow. We're growing, we're just been, even through coronavirus, we were hiring and bringing new people onto the team. We didn't lay off anyone, and we didn't reduce salaries or anything like that either. So really, really proud of that. Part of that was just, making sure that we were profitable from the beginning of this journey that we sort of restarted when we launched in 2019, our, current productized service, which our clients are loving and we're just really proud of, and we're just making it better every day, but I digress. So we were hiring a digital marketing strategist, and as is pretty standard throughout, any hiring process, but I'm actually surprised that some employees don't do it at all. We give a skill test, and we also will often do some sort of a on-spec project, to sort of like gradually escalate the relationship. And the purpose is to, show that the person just consistently shows up. Kind of reminds me of that Woody Allen quote, 90% of success in life is just showing up. It's true. It's really true. Like, if you just show up, you'll usually get work done. If you just go to the gym, even if it's just a habit just to go there, you're going to build the habit to most of the time just work out, so you'd be healthier. So showing up, there's a lot to be said for it. But with this candidate, she said she looked really great on paper, as potential marketing strategist for us to hire, and she also had some other skills that we found attractive. So we said, hey, all right, go ahead. We like your application. You interviewed well. Are you open to doing a our process is to do a skill test for the next step. And, so is that good for you? And she said, yeah, it sounds great. So we gave her the skill test. We said, okay, it's going to be due at this day and this time. She said, all right, awesome. And then we never heard from her. And then we sent an email after the time had passed saying, all right, unfortunately, we have to reject your application at this time for the reason that the deadline was missed. And, this person actually didn't give a lame excuse, but she did come back to us about 3-4 weeks later and was like, okay, can I reapply? I'm really, really sorry. And, meanwhile, we're already in the process of hiring someone who is a much better fit and who didn't make that such an obvious mistake, not even just kind of ghosting, like not even a basic communication. Okay, I can't complete this on time because X, Y, or Z. I was doing work for someone else. But the excuses that I've heard from other applicants that were much, much worse were like, oh, grandma's in the hospital, medical emergency, just those that car accident. I mean, what are the chances, right? Not too high, especially when you don't have to commute for the work that we do, which is all online. So you might notice with the other 2 red flags I'm about to tell you about that the reoccurring theme and piece of advice is, takeaway is you get what you tolerate when hiring. You get what you tolerate. So if you tolerate excuses, especially if they're quite lame, if you tolerate display of ability that's really not very good, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. So, and just some stats too. Again, I mentioned $15,000. The cost that actually comes from Career Builder. So the average cost of a bad hire is $15,000, and I don't believe that takes into consideration, as I mentioned, the cost of on team morale, for example. The soft costs that are more difficult to measure on brand, right? Another stat, nearly 3 in 4 employers have been affected by a bad hire, according to Career Builder, and 74% of employers say they've hired the wrong person at one time or another. And that in general, 76% of employers say that attracting quality candidates is their biggest challenge right now. So moving on to red flag number 2 that you need to be aware of in order to avoid potentially a bad hire is zero knowledge about the company or the job position that they're applying for. And unfortunately, I've noticed that this is very common, even when people will show up for, just a quick, kind of, we call it a pre-interview, where our hiring manager will just do, we'll kind of like sort through all the applications, pick out the ones that show some promise, and then look to, book an initial pre-interview, 15 to 20 minutes, just kind of get to know you. Testing also, like, okay, like, do they show up, right? And but it's actually really common that people will be like, oh, I haven't really looked at your website. It's like, okay, like, are you really interested in working with us? You haven't even seen our homepage, and you can show up to this call, but you don't even know what we do. Like, how do you know what you're going to be doing? So, I mean, which only takes like 3 minutes of preparation time. So that's a huge red flag. And I have to say that we have hired people in the past who would, they looked so good enough that we would just overlook that. But I have to say that it never worked out as well as the people who did actually take the 3 minutes to check out our site and know what we're doing. So, for example, some stats, 89% of applicants believe it's important for employers to have a clear mission, according to Glassdoor. This is something I really love to talk about during my initial interview with someone, is because I want to see if the candidate is sort of like predisposed to, to have the same kind of core values of self-improvement, creativity, enjoyment, and that identifies in some way with our mission too of creation acceleration, long version, accelerate creativity, and the entrepreneurial spirit. That's what we do. That's what the company exists for. So that's important for applicants, and that's why I communicate about it. It's also obviously important for us, but it also kind of brings up the fact and helps me to check, okay, did they actually check out our website? I mean, our about page is right there in the navigation. Did they read about our mission already? Let's see. In addition, 77% of US adults think that companies are becoming more mission driven, and this can help companies stay at the top of mind of job seekers. So it's something just related to the mission thing and core values. It's something that can help people to stay top of mind. The thing is, so that's kind of, again, going back to the idea of whether or not the applicant has knowledge of the company, of your company that they were actually applying to work with. But I would encourage you as the employer, don't fake the mission and vision and value stuff at all, because that's even worse. And I noticed companies doing it left and right all over the place because they think it's trendy. They think it's somehow helpful to them to do that, but they don't really mean it. So just to digress for a moment, what are actual core values? Core values are what you would hold and value to be true and worthwhile and never compromise on, even when it would be to your advantage to as a business or financially, for example, in a certain situation. You never compromise on core values. The other thing is that, you can tell if a company truly has core values if they are, if they're expressed through their actions and through the work systems and the workflows that they set up and the expectations that they communicate. So that's why in order of priority, I mean, this is something I've thought a ton about. I actually started our company on based on core values, but maybe that's more of a conversation for another day. All right, so finally, red flag number 3, and I think I'll give you a bonus one after this as well, is the applicant doesn't follow instructions for the work sample. They don't follow instructions. And again, this comes back to that principle of you get what you tolerate. So just simple things as, okay, for example, we will ask as part of the instructions when we give a skill test, for instance, we will say, create the Google Doc, and then at the end of it, we'll make them jump through one extra hoop. Say, at the beginning of the title of the Google Doc that you're going to be submitting to us for us to review, we want you to put the adjective, and at the bottom of the Google Doc, we want you to type the name of your favorite movie, for instance, right? So that just kind of makes sure that they're paying attention, and it's just one more thing to sort of emphasize too that following instructions is really important. All right. So all that being said, let me give you one more example, because this is something that we learned very recently. We were hiring a new copywriter, and oh man, there's just so many headaches with hiring. Again, I'm so happy that we are solving this problem for our clients, because it's really painful. And our systems are strong, just getting better and faster. But anyway, we were looking to bring on board this new copywriter, and on paper, she was competent. Got a quick interview with her after she had kind of passed through all the tests that we had and filters, and we said, okay, nice to meet you. We got to know her a little bit, but then right away, some things started to pop up where there were some issues in terms of her learning our systems, and she had a preference for it to be a certain way. And some of the feedback we actually really thought was good, but it was the way that she would communicate would be a bit of an overreaction, bit of an overreaction, um, in terms of how it would be described, to the point where it was just super negative. Um, but more than that, because we love feedback, we love internal criticism, as long as it's constructive and as long as it's going to help us get better. So we love that kind of stuff. I was just telling one of our other copywriters today how I think that as a business, as an organization, we are really anti-fragile, which is a really interesting book I've been meaning to read by Nassim Taleb. The idea of being anti-fragile is that you get better, the more that, you kind of, like, imagine a box with like something delicate inside of it, and you drop it and the thing breaks. But the opposite of that is anti-fragile, where it gets better in some way the more that the box is dropped or abused in some way. So as an organization, I feel like that has been, we just have systems and a mindset and an attitude that we just get better the more that we work over time. So anyway, the big red flag with this hire was that she just became inflexible. She became inflexible, and ultimately she just completely ghosted on us. And we ask all our applicants, to give us 2 weeks notice, because that's just considered professional courtesy. But the person ultimately ghosted, and there was just a level of inflexibility there. And I think that's something to watch out for too, is inflexibility. I think this person really, really valued just being right, saying how things should be in terms of what she would think would be like the perfect ideal situation, and in terms of, like, the work system and onboarding her. But you need to test for flexibility. And one of the ways that we've tested for this, so for example, our top copywriter, Alex, he experienced this as part of the process. But just test for inflexibility, or flexibility rather, because that's good, because there's always going to be problems. Okay. Especially if you're selling services, we're humans, we're not robots. So some of the ways that you can test for flexibility is, ask about, rescheduling an interview time, for example, or when it's about to start, say, okay, can you give me like an extra 10 minutes? I need to prepare. And, what you're looking for in terms of red flags are just someone saying, no, like that doesn't work for me. We agreed on this time. Like, that's a really good predictor of whether or not it's going to work out with that hire. Again, because, people we're always, when we want to get a job, we're always putting our absolute best foot forward. We're trying not to show our flaws, whether they be personality based or work ethic wise. So that would be my final bonus red flag for you to keep in mind. But if you want to learn about at least 3 additional red flags that you have to keep in mind when hiring, so that you can avoid those bad apples, those bad hires getting onto your team and infecting, the culture in a bad way, or your brand, and hurting your brand, check out the full article that we wrote to go along with this video. If you're on autogrow.co, if you're watching this on the blog, just scroll on down the page and you can see them right there. But if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the link to the article in the description, and you'll see those additional red flags to watch out for. The link is right below the like button. So if you like this video, I would ask that you please like the video with the thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more great tips about this sort of topic, whether it's hiring or digital marketing. We're just sharing the journey with you guys, what I'm learning as the founder of AutoGrow, and what we're learning as a team. So definitely like, subscribe, leave a comment. Love to hear from you, whether you're watching on YouTube or on the blog. And finally, I would say, if you are looking to delegate all of your digital marketing tasks without all these like really painful headaches of hiring, you just want to skip all that, never hire again, at least for digital marketing, at least at the time of this video, then go check out autogrow.co, because that's exactly what we enable you to do. We let you delegate all your digital marketing tasks and projects by clicking and by typing. And it's amazing. And you don't have to worry about hiring anyone. We just help you to get the work done without the headaches of hiring. AutoGrow is basically like project management software. Okay, it's basically like project management software, like a SaaS application, but with proven professionals already inside, already just hooked up and ready and waiting to get the work done for you. Copywriters, designers, developers, strategists, and more. All right. And it's just an awesome experience. So you select your package, you click checkout. So 2 clicks, one to click to select your package, and then one on the checkout page. And then you're in the system. You can put in your first idea, like our navigation is within the app, it's ideas made real. So you would input your first idea, and basically an idea is, kind of what would turn into a project or a group of tasks that you want us to do. So you input your first idea, leave some notes, maybe some examples of what you actually want it to look like for the end results, or if it's copywriting, examples of copy or content, that how you want it to look. And we can work with, it's not limited just to copy and design. We have an apps manager on staff. So if you want us to work with, whether you have lead pages, ClickFunnels, Thrive, WordPress, ActiveCampaign, any of that, we can work with you, and we can help you to link it all together and execute it. And that's the big problem too, is, you go to different marketplaces, and you really have to piece it together. Not only do you have to go through the hiring process, but it's like, okay, like you have to go through like 20 steps just to like, and days or weeks just to get a really great copywriter, for example, who's reliable, who could just like give you something basic that might be just at least good, but that you can work with. But then after that, it's like, okay, well, how do you deploy it? You need other skill sets to turn it into a design, and then other skill sets to turn it into a functional landing page and to actually launch it. And, what about quality assurance? And what about you and your time and in terms of your knowledge? Like maybe that there's more that you need to learn. Well, that's also what we include. You get access to a strategist to help you actually think through some of the marketing strategy and conversion bottlenecks that might be holding you back in terms of results. So it's really a comprehensive solution. But to get back to the example, you type in your idea, examples, what do you want us to do? And you click the button that says make it real, and then you sit back, relax, and watch as we get the work done for you. It's a progress bar, goes from 0 to 100%. And we also have a live chat built right in so that you can chat with your project manager and or your strategist in real time. And we're able to help you out if you have any questions, or anything like that. So check it out. It's autogrow.co. So hope we get the opportunity to work with you. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. But I will see you in the next video. And until then, I hope you have a great day. But always keep auto growing and stay focused. I'll see you soon.